Its largest retailer offers deep discounts, sparking a global shopping frenzy.
Yes, but across the country, protesters are choosing Prime Day to blast Amazon, saying it profits from efforts to detain and deport undocumented immigrants. King 5's Ted Land joins us live from the company headquarters in Seattle. Ted.
When many people see Amazon, they think of cheap TVs, Bluetooth speakers, clothing, and groceries, all delivered to their doorsteps in just a few hours. But another huge part of the company's business is Amazon Web Services, which provides customers access to vast servers and databases. Activists are concerned that platform is being used to help deport undocumented immigrants.
As millions browsed a barrage of Prime Day bargains,
Drop ICE! Drop ICE!
Protesters, including immigrants' rights groups, gathered in front of Amazon's iconic spheres, demanding the company cut ties with businesses connected to U.S. immigration and customs enforcement.
If Amazon continues to collaborate with ICE, it will fuel deportation efforts, which terrorize immigrant communities throughout the country, resulting in countless errors, deportations without due process, and increased racial profiling.
They're concerned Amazon Web Services, a cloud computing platform, is used by companies which contract with ICE. It's also been reported that Amazon pitched its facial recognition system to ICE and law enforcement agencies.
Shame on Amazon, shame on ICE, shame on the Washington state if we don't stop this from happening right now.
Amazon would not disclose who it does business with, but a spokesperson said in a statement that companies and governments need to use existing and new technology responsibly and lawfully. Amazon added that it's up to governments to explain what is acceptable use for artificial intelligence technology and how it should be used.
Get your tech out of ICE now!
These protesters hope people will pause before clicking buy. But with many analysts anticipating upwards of $5 billion worth of Prime Day sales, it'll be difficult for these voices to distract all those shoppers eager to snag a deal.
At one point, the demonstrators tried to deliver a box of thousands of signatures to executives in this building here behind me. They only made it as far as the reception desk before they were told that they would just pass those signatures along to someone in charge. Live in downtown Seattle, Ted Land, King 5 News.